Rugby Championship, folks, the team of the week for round number 5. We're going to pick 15 guys from the 2 games at the weekend. That was Pumas, Springboks, and Wallabies All Blacks. We're going to go through their key events and stats and whatnot, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on who you would have in a team. I should say, usually when I do this, I'm pretty happy with the team that I pick. But this one's a weird week where I feel like there's a bunch of guys who you could have this guy, could have that guy. I'm not entirely satisfied with that many of the picks, so take that with what it's worth. It's just one of those weeks where a lot of guys maybe did something good but then had some drawbacks, or a bunch of guys were kind of similarly good, but there are a few standout guys as well. But anyway, we'll go through them, see which guys kind of did their jerseys proud. Also, if you do want jerseys, Level Rugby, link down in the description. They're a great jersey store. People often ask, where do I get jerseys from? One of the main shops is Level Rugby, so they're an affiliate of the channel. Happy days. Props, I'm going to start with one of my favourite props in Big Stephen Kitsoff. Guy always seems to put in a good shift. Pretty reliable. And I do feel like the Springbok scrum was certainly better in the first half, although they did get pinged in both halves. I think it was better in the first half than the second. The bomb squad effect didn't really have the effect that we're kind of used to seeing in recent times, although keeping in mind that Malcolm Marx ended up playing the whole game, so Dion Fourie didn't come on as that kind of full front row replacement. He ended up going on the back row, so maybe it's hard to compare. But 4 runs, 8 metres, 3 defenders beaten is a decent return for most props. There are a few exceptional props who can get higher rates than that, but for most props, those are pretty good numbers. He's got a pass. He makes 5 from 7 tackles. He does concede 2 penalties, but he manages a bloody line-out steal. A line-out steal from your loose head prop. Slap that sucker back. Good job, Stephen. Quick thinking. He had his hand up as well. How many times do props stand there with their hand up, wait to try and slap the ball down, and they never get anything from it? Well, Stephen Kitsoff managed to get a line-out steal, so happy days from him. I thought he put in a pretty good shift, as he is generally like to do. And tight head, I ended up going with a Wallaby in Alan Alatoa. I thought he had a pretty fine outing as well. Just defensively, very solid and scrummed pretty well. The All Blacks weren't really able to get on top at scrum time. Doesn't concede any penalties, which is generally a pretty good sign for the way the scrum is going for props. 10 from 11 tackles is one of the Wallabies' top tacklers in this game. 4 runs for 3 metres, 2 passes and an offload. So nothing much doing. Ball in hand, it's the kind of regular stuff, but getting through his core role really well. I thought Alan Alatoa, acquitted himself pretty well. Now the next guy was my first name off the team sheet, and that was Malcolm Marx. Malcolm Marx, like I said, he played the whole game, and he just does pretty much everything he does very well. Everything he puts his hand to, he just does very well. 2 tries. One of them a maul try, and one of them he's played centre back when he was at school or something. Nice kind of backline move with Malcolm Marx being a key component of it. 2 tries, 45 metres. 10 runs, 45 metres. Pretty bloody good for a hooker. 2 passes, 14 from 16 is their line out, so just 2 went awry. So pretty high percentage for them. 14 from 15 tackles, certainly one of the top tacklers of the game. Wins a turnover. He does have 1 penalty conceded, which again was at scrum time. But man, Malcolm Marx, the dude is just immense. He's even got a wicked pass on him. I think it's him that whips the ball out right for the penalty try. I think he whips it out to Kane Moody. He just did a bit of everything. So yeah, Malcolm Marx, first name off the team sheet, like I said. Guy just continues to be pretty exceptional. I mean, his other front rows, obviously, Tokiaho for the All Blacks was very good as well. He also got 2 tries. He was denied a 3rd, but I mean, it's kind of a shameful one that a little halfbacks robbing the big hooker from getting a try. So, so he was still very good, wasn't he? Gajo for the Pumas came off the bench and added a bit of spice, but these are the guys I have gone with. Locks, I've kind of cheated a little bit. And I've ended up putting Franco Mostert into my second row, because he does move into the second row later on in the game. But he's my ultimate workhorse player. I picked him a couple of weeks ago when he ended up getting a try, which is not really what he's he's known for. He's known for his absolute work rate, and this game was basically the epitome of that. 16 from 17 tackles and 6 line-out wins. The guy is just getting through, again, core role, again and again and again and again and again. He's not that flashy, so he doesn't get the plaudits of some of the other guys, but the guy is a coach's dream, just getting through the work like he does. He has 4 runs for 4 metres, which is kind of what we expect from Mostert. I mean, one of them's he trucks it up right before Dale Endy gets his try. So he's not going far, but it's just that kind of quick recycle ball that he's doing. So helps kind of set it up in that way. He's got 3 passes. He does concede 1 penalty, and sometimes I've seen Springbok fans give him stick for his for his English not being the best. I mean, dude probably speaks more languages than I do. But still, I've seen people give him grief for that. And I know he's not that confident. Back when he was at the Lions, he would generally prefer to answer in Afrikaans, which is obviously his mother tongue. But yeah, the ref clearly told him, get away, and he didn't listen. Maybe didn't hear him. So, yeah, apart from that breakdown penalty. Oh, and the turnover conceded is the one at the line out. I think that's more about the lift. He kind of gets half dropped and he tilts backwards, the one that's the Yaka denied try. So apart from that, I thought Mostert was pretty solid. I love the fact that he gets through his work like he does. So phenomenal player. And the other one I've gone for is an All Black in Brodie Retallick. Continues to show that engine that he's got. He is just, I think, getting back to his best. I don't know, it's been hard to say since he came back from Japan. He's not quite looked the player that he used to be, but I think he's getting there. 10 runs, so he's very busy. 32 metres, that's a bloody good return actually. 3 passes, including a try assist. He sets up Tokiaho when it's 15 on 13. 10 from 10 tackles. He wins 3 lineouts, including the one that ends up in that first maul try for Tokiaho. So him and Tokiaho had a bit of a connection there. He doesn't concede any penalties, man. Just very busy on the ball, very busy on defense, good in the air. What else do you want from that guy? I thought he was, I thought he was pretty good. I thought Lavanini was pretty good as well. I thought Big Eben also pretty solid. Diaka didn't get as many minutes as maybe he would have liked, but there you go. Those are the locks for this week. Loose forwards, I've ended up going with one of the Pumas guys in Juan Martin Gonzalez. He actually managed to get some go-forward ball, which if you watch that game, Pumas against the Boks, for large periods, the Pumas attack was just going in to the brick wall, which was the Boks defense, and they would be pushed backwards, and then they would kick. They were good at competing in the air, I thought, but Gonzalez actually is able to get forward. He beats 6 defenders. I think the entire team beat, was it 15 or 18? But he's got a sizable chunk for a 23-man squad. For him to have as many as he did is way too many. I think the next best guy on the Pumas was 3. So, yeah, actually able to get some dynamic ball carrying going on. And he's just got a huge work rate. Again, coach's dream stuff. So he gets an intercept where he gets a clean break and puts a kick through. He is the first Argentinian man arriving when Boffelli puts a kick through. He's almost there, but Khaleesi, I think, or Creel, taps it down to prevent what would have been a try. So he's just always the guy running onto the ball. Huge work rate. 8 runs, 58 metres, 6 defenders being, like I mentioned, clean break, 6 passes and offload, makes 9 from 10 tackles, doesn't concede any penalties, just on a losing shift. I still thought he managed to stand out pretty well. A Wallaby and Pete Samu, I thought also stood out pretty well. I mean, there was a little bit of talk about him just getting named in the 7 jersey, which is not his normal one. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, and I thought he acquitted himself really, really well. He's maybe been a bit underutilised in what's been a pretty competitive Wallabies back row. At times he's been in and out of the squad, and then he's been on the bench, and now he finally gets a start, and he acquitted himself really well. I mean, he gets a try. He has 8 runs for 74 metres. He gasses Quinn Tupaia before he gets his leg injury. He's too quick for him. Tupaia was losing ground. So that's the speed this guy's got. 2 clean breaks and the defender beaten. 6 passes and 2 offloads, makes 7 from 8 tackles. He catches that long line-out throw, which gets them going forward. The guy was just involved in a bit of everything. So certainly one of the best players on the park for that first Bledisloe game. And then it's another Wallaby for Rob Valentini. He's been consistently good all season, and I think I've snubbed him a few times, but I couldn't snub him for this one, man. He's another one who gets a try. I mean, he goes straight through De Groot. De Groot should be doing better there, but Valentini just beats him one-on-one. 11 runs, 32 metres, pretty good return. Not Pete Samu good, but still pretty good. He's got a clean break. He only has 2 passes, so he was certainly doing a lot more carrying than ball passing this week, but that's his job. He's one of the top tacklers with 12 from 13. He wins 2 turnovers, I think, including the one that gets Nick White the penalty to kick what could have been the winning points of the game. He doesn't concede any penalties. So, yeah, man. What can I say? I think he's maybe a little bit at fault for like kind of standing off Tokiaho when he got that. Tokiaho got a second try, but I mean, it was 15 on 13. Valentini's trying to cover multiple players, so he just made the wrong call. But that's kind of hard to blame him for that. Honestly, I thought he was pretty phenomenal. So there you go. That's your forwards. I also thought Visa was pretty bloody good for the box until he went off. Likewise, Khaleesi. Both those guys maybe would have liked a few more minutes. But yeah, certainly some others you could go through. But those are the guys I have gone with for this one. Into the backs. Halfback, man, pretty tough, but I ended up going with Jaden Hendricks. Again, I don't think it's his best performance in a Springboks jersey, and some of the kicking, maybe not on the money as he would have had it in other games. But I mean, he still scores a try and gets denied the other one, so the penalty try is almost attributable to him because if Carreras doesn't make that offside tackle, then Jaden Hendrickson gets a second try. So it's almost like he got 2. A really great dummy, backs himself, sold the Argentinian defenders up the river. So really, really confident play from him. 4 runs, 8 metres, has a clean break, which is the try. 2 defenders beaten, 32 passes and 9 kicks, like pretty quick service. Pleasing, man. Pleasing. Like I think I might have mentioned this before, but not that long ago, you would have thought South Africa, apart from Faf de Klerk, don't have like a reliable option at 9 who's like test experience, you know what I mean? Like being chucked into the deep end in test matches and has seen his side through it because Faf just dominated so many of the minutes. But with Jaden there, I think you guys are looking all right. So 6 from 7 tackles. He's always defensively pretty solid. I mean, a couple of turnovers conceded, but honestly, I still thought, in what's not his best ever game, I still thought he looked pretty good. So yeah, happy days for Springboks fans there. At 10, I went with Richie Mo'unga. Again, another one where it's like I'm not 100% sold. I could have gone with someone else, but I mean Mo'unga's still, I think, got a pretty good grasp on the 10 jersey at the moment ahead of Bodie. He gets a try, takes it really well, beats Foley, who also could have been a contender for this week, another kind of controversial one, but he beats Foley one-on-one. He gets 4 conversions, 2 penalties for 19 points, so he's becoming pretty reliable from the tee. 5 runs, 14 metres is not like the greatest numbers we've ever seen from Richie Mo'unga, but still 4 defenders beaten. That footwork he has makes him kind of hard to bring down. A clean break in there. 13 passes, 7 kicks, so nice kind of distribution of him, kick, pass, and run. 8 from 10 tackles is relatively defensively solid. He does have 1 turnover conceded, but as an All Blacks fan, I'm pretty happy with the way Richie is running the show at the moment. I'm sure they'll rotate to Bodie at some point to keep him, I don't know, up to speed. But yeah, I think most All Blacks fans will be pretty happy with Richie at the moment anyway. Always happier when you win the games anyway. Kubeli, if I had to go for another guy. Kubeli came off the bench for the Argentinians and was phenomenal. Replaced Bertrand, and I like Bertrand, but I mean Kubeli, if I was going to pick somebody else, certainly worth a shout. I actually had Kubeli earlier on, but I shifted it to Hendrickson, so such is the way it goes. Midfield, I went with a South African and big Damon Delende. He's a controversial figure in South African social media, rugby social media anyway. A lot of people don't like him. They give him so much stick, but I thought he did all right, man. I think he adds a lot of value for your guys' side. 10 runs, 64 metres. You can't argue with that. He's certainly putting that big frame of his. And, like, what's his tackle numbers? 4 from 5. Like one of them's on Lavanini, but he gets stopped cold by De Allende. Like De Allende's a big guy. So, but putting that big frame to use is something he does well. He has a clean break and 4 defenders beaten. The clean break, I'm pretty sure, is the intercept, where he probably needs to find Mapimpi somehow, but they managed to not convert that chance. I think that's the kind of thing where De Allende gets given stick, like for his decision making or execution. Like the commentator said, he should have kicked, but I mean, you got to give credit to the Argentinian defense for kind of scrambling to shut it down, but. Still, he did well to shut down the Argentinian move to start with because, remember, the Argentinians had got their own intercept a couple of phases before. So, yeah, man, he gets his try. He takes that well. He powers through. He's got 1 turnover conceded and 1 penalty conceded. But, I mean, overall, I think De Allende adds a lot of value to that Springbok side. I mean, I will have to have a look at some point because there's 2 midfielders who we like to give a lot of stick. One is Damian De Allende from the Springboks and one's Rico Ioane from the All Blacks for like being guys who are just kind of like tunnel vision and don't pass it enough. I'll have to look at their numbers to see if it's like genuine. But anyway, play to your strengths, man. De Allende is a big unit, so going forward, he does all right. Speaking of Rico Ioane, I managed to put him in as well. I could have gone with other guys. Again, it's not like one where it's 100% convincing. Like, certainly some of his passes, someone on social media mentioned it like he passes like he's a winger. Like, some of his passes, not the best, but I mean, still, I do think he's stepping into that 13 jersey pretty well. We've got a bit of an injury crisis in the midfield here in New Zealand at the moment, but I think Rico's doing okay, man. He doesn't have those crazy big run numbers like he did in previous weeks, like 5 runs for 32 metres. For him, is actually pretty quiet. But, I mean, he still has 3 defenders beaten in a clean break, and defensively 7 from 8 tackles. You've got to give this guy a lot of credit. I mean, the try-saving tackle on Callaway is pretty massive, and he seems to be getting a pretty good read. Like, there's a couple of times when, I think it's his wingers are maybe not in the right spot or missing tackles, and Rico is either Johnny on the spot or trying to close down the gap, so I think he's got that awareness about him. But yeah, we'll kind of have to wait and see how the All Blacks line up once they get the likes of Good, Hewitt, ALB and whatnot back. But 3 penalties conceded is kind of a black mark for him in the black jersey, but yeah, there you go, that's your midfield. I mean, Ikitau I thought was also pretty good. That tip pass that set up the Callaway non-try. Orlando I thought was alright. Foketi won a few key turnovers, but the Aussie midfield didn't get much ball kind of going forward. But yeah, there you go. Outside backs, this was the hardest one actually, and I ended up with going for Big Marika on the left, but it was a tough one. I'm not convinced, but I've ended up with Marika. He gets a try assist. He helps set up the Samu try down the left wing. They play that kind of 1-2, and Marika does well to get the ball away. 10 runs, 58 metres, 4 defenders beaten. Core role of getting your ball going forward. He does that pretty bloody well. 3 passes and an offload. One of them will be that try assist. And I mean, defensively, the guy is a workhorse in terms of he just seems to have a huge ticker and that he's just always running. Like, you remember a few weeks ago when he makes that crazy tackle against the South Africans to get in a try saver. People don't like his tackling technique on social media, I will give you that. And some of his stuff is like pretty full on. So it's like borderline at times. But I mean, he puts in a big hit on Caleb Clark. So you got to love to see it if your winger's putting in that kind of commitment. Like for Mwunga's try, he almost gets across to get Mwunga. Like you can see him again steaming across from his wing. He's trying to come back. He's made it all the way under the sticks and he gets to Mwunga, but he can't stop the try. But that's the kind of thing, like he's just always full commitment, steaming onto the ball. So give him some credit there. But yeah, no tries for him, but certainly a try assist and dangerous ball in hand. Right wing, I ended up going with maybe an unconventional one. And Emiliano Boffelli. Because he didn't get the kind of core stuff like meters going forward. He does have 6 carries, but only manages 11 meters. Because like the Springboks defense, as I mentioned, was pretty suffocating. But his work with the boot continues to be good. I think he misses the 1, but he gets 8 points, a couple penalties and a conversion. He wins a turnover, but just also kind of like Marika, Johnny on the spot, like it's him on loose ball, kicking it through for Gonzalez, almost sets up a try. It's him competing for that aerial ball, did pretty well in that aspect of the game. Like it's an area where the Springboks generally excel, but I thought the Pumas as a whole did pretty well, so I thought he was kind of a part of that. I think Boffelli at the moment is kind of one of your first names off the team sheet, so not so much flashy stuff, but none from one tackles is also not ideal, but he wins a turnover like I mentioned, and I thought overall contests pretty well, so to keep the Pumas in the game. And then lastly, I've gone with Jordie Barrett at fullback, which is a tough one as well because he spends half the game at fullback, so you could argue he's been picked out of position, but he started in the 15 jump. He plays most of that game in 15. He ends up with a try, which is the game winner, so well done there. He's got a try assist as well. 7 runs for 49 metres is a pretty good return. He doesn't have to do that much defensively, but I mean, 2 from 2 tackles, and one of them is Pete Samu on a big line break. Like Pete Samu is clean through. Jordie Barrett comes up and just stops him dead cold. So well done for that one. 2 passes, one of them's an offload, 2 defenders beaten. Overall, I thought Jordie did alright. He's been just consistently pretty good for the All Blacks at 15, and he may get his chance at 12 next week. We'll kind of have to wait and see. Like I mentioned, we've got a bit of an injury crisis. They might bring old RTS into the squad, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. But that's the back 3. Like I mentioned, there's some guys like Will Jordan, go forward, some beautiful stuff. I could have put him in there, but like defensively, pretty bad. So he falls off Pete Samu badly, and there's other incidents as well. Caleb Clark, like big run from that left wing, like when he storms up the field and they end up getting yellow carded to Tom Wright. Like that play was phenomenal, but again, he's kind of all over the shop sometimes, like where he's standing. Like I think when he gets hit by Marika Korobedi, I'm pretty sure he's out on the right wing or midfield. I don't know, but Andrew Callaway gets a couple of tries. Also blows a try, also gets beaten all ends up by Will Jordan. So like those 3 guys, absolute like mixed bag. Like you could certainly justify any of them, but you could also absolutely justify not selecting any of them. So there you go. Mapimpi, I don't think he was able to compete quite as well as Boffelli in the air, but he gets a nice try assist for the Malcolm Marks try. Did really well for that one. So I think he did all right as well. But, there you go. That's the team of the week. Like I said, personally, not that convinced by it, but it's just one of those weeks like where certain teams were good for periods and then quiet for periods. So that just kind of reflects on the players as well. But if I had to pick player of the week for one guy, it's probably Malcolm Marks or maybe Pete Samu for mine. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.